Guy gets a universal remote, but it's like a remote that controls the universe. And he like there's like he's home and he's bored, and he hits like fast forward, and suddenly it's like 10 years in the future. He went way too far, and like his daughter's grown up and she hates him. And just, click, yeah, yeah. It was with Adam Sandler. Thank you. I'm reminded of that in this moment.
No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flurry. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how...
Are you clicking it? Yeah, I've been clicking it.
Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me... Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment, and I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to...
The clock's not moving. We're gonna keep skipping ahead till like the walls turn to dust. Chat, remember to replace the batteries in your fire alarms twice a year. I remember to do mine by just doing them during the time changes. Oh, no one watered the plant.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time.
Oh no! Skip. Mukluk Douglas, Beth of the original Discord, the fourth, this is Johnson Festivals, the third, welcomes you, NT Control, and Vankadus, Psychody, and a Flute Girl to the lab. Hope you enjoy your stay. Entertainment is on the way. Crank up the speakers, don't touch the beakers, giveaways every week. Please take a seat, but you'll only need the edge. Welcome. I paid good money for that? Yes, you did.
If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our...
I heard a leaky pipe.
The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end.
Oh, jeez. Hi. Dude, right when the narrator gets into Creepy Town, then you had to do that. Hello. Thank you, Jado, for gifting a sub to Marvin. Appreciate you.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Oh no, there's a lot of water back there. Hey, called it. It eventually collapses. Can't climb out yet. Maybe in another century. Oh, that's neat. Oh, nope. I got Kyokyo and Roto. Oh, that's insane! That sounds spooky. Oh, hey. I think my button broke.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Was that the end of that
What could it mean?
path?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I want to see the normal ending for the game.
When Stanley came
Like
to a set
the
of
if
two
you
open
follow the
doors,
directions
he entered
ending.
the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
So if we go downstairs, it's the dreaming, screaming thing. This wasn't here before. I've got the feeling money's for stealing, but not yours, of course. Say that's a lovely purse. Extreme bathroom. Okay. Oh, it's Flute's office again. Dang it, I'm just trying to see the normal ending. What is this? Oh. I keep finding new stuff. Sid, thank you, buddy. Is this even an elevator, or is it just a music box?
The end is never the end is never the end.
Skip! Okay, that's just a music room. Thank you, Eternal. You weird fella.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Alright, so the only time I've been down here so far, I went down like the exit pathway, which just like ruined everything. I haven't been into mind control facility yet.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What
Isn't this
horrible
Professor
secret
X's
did
room?
this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
I feel like Professor X had one of these. Cameras.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
What was Stanley's number? Does anyone remember? Incredibly, I have forgotten it. $427. Yep, that's my desk.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all. Blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing.
Really weird that the mind control facility has this
through the
massive
open
door here.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Good ending acquired. Achievement unlocked. Beat the game. Alright, what if I go back there and I turn the mind control machine back on?
He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
It's unfortunate that it takes like minutes to get back to a fork and try it again. It's kind of like, I don't know, it feels like it's like
There was not a
artificially
single person
increasing
here
the playtime.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Oh, dang it, narrator. Open the door. Ah.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Note the elevator down also has an up button. Yeah. Goes to Steam to play the narrator? No.
Stanley walked straight ahead through
Use the
large
elevator
door
again.
of the
I want to
great
see what happens if I hit the on
mind
button over
control
here.
facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation.
what's up
Controls
here?
labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking,
There's a button up
eating,
there.
working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode.
Nuclear?
eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine.
All right, so there's a
You are the
3.
star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until
There's a
the
4
bomb
up
goes
here.
off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know
1,
where to start.
2.
What's that? You'd
Wait,
like
what?
to know where your co-workers are. A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened.
That
to
door
them.
just closed.
I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this
Oh, it says
instance
3
of
on the
story.
screen.
Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside.
Button
Or I
hint.
let it
Activate
burn to
button
a
dark
crisp.
blue 1.
I have to say this, though. This version of events has been rather amusing.
What?
Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever
What?
I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My
Now it says
goodness,
5.
only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler.
Yeah, I don't know
for
what
you.
it wants me to do.
That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me,
I don't know if there actually is something I can
from the
do.
moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
I don't know if it was possible for me to do something there or if I just couldn't figure it out in time. There was a 4th button on the stair. Yeah, I saw the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but on the screen it said like 5 green and 3 blue. But when I hit 3 blue or 5 green, nothing happened. New content.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
What's up, Gildan, man? This is the type of villain that likes to talk while killing the main character and then just keeps talking, you know?
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully